Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Shabbat Show. Great to be with you again. Welcome back. Another week. For those of you who are in the Northeast, hope you're climbing out of the snowstorm. For those of you who are south or you missed the storm, yeah, God bless you. Hope everyone had an incredible week. It's February, which means almost March, which means almost April, which means spring is around the corner, and I cannot believe how long we've been together. This is a special weekend, especially for those that grew up with this. It's Super Bowl Sunday on Sunday. And at least if you were like me growing up and sports was the center of your life as a kid, this was always a special day for you. I always wondered why this wasn't a Jewish holiday. It's got all the properties to it. You know what I'm talking about? The food, kickoff is around sundown time, Men and women are always separate. It's very, very orthodox. It's always been an exciting time. And the show is all about this. The show is all about not just the game of football, but the concept of sports, the metaphor of what we can take out of it, the metaphor of life. That's what we're going to talk about today. Not just the game, but the principles, what we can take from the game, what we can take from sports. And for those who play sports or follow sports, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And for those who don't, stick with us, because this show is so much more than just the game in particular. And so I'm excited for today's show. We've got a great show coming up. So excited for it. This week's show is once again sponsored as a program of the Kal Enoch Goldman Center for Jewish Values. And we thank Jay Goldman for his consistent sponsorship and his partnership in the show. We have a show dedicated in someone else's memory as well. You know, I mentioned them on the show before, but Dr. Stewart and Andrea Heitman are founding partners and supporters of Project Inspire. Everything you see in Project Inspire has their fingerprints on it. I know them personally, and they are incredible people who have the Jewish community and the Jewish nation sort of right in their minds and everything that they do. And it's an honor to be able to know them and for them to be connected to us and us to be connected to them. Unfortunately, Dr. Heitman's mother passed away this week, and we're dedicating this week's show in her memory. So the show is also dedicated in loving memory to Mrs. Gloria Heitman, Aleh Shalom, Rivka Sima Bas Michal. And so we've got a lot coming up. In big announcement, in 2 weeks, we're going to have a 3-day event. The incredible Project Inspire convention is going to be online February 18th to the 21st. Got a crazy showcase of hours of inspiring speakers, presentations, real talk, concerts, presentations, a ton of stuff. We got a 2-hour Shabbat show coming up, which is going to be hopefully amazing. You got to check it out. You look at the flyer. It's going to be awesome. 2 weeks from today. So just mark it down not to go anywhere. 2 weeks, there'll be a souped up Shabbat show that I hope you like. And the whole conference. Come to the whole convention. All right, we got a great show for you. Like I said, Super Bowl weekend. It's time for us to sort of take something that has been the pastime of every country and suck out the benefits, suck out the principles, the metaphors, so that we can be a little bit more closer to being champions in our own lives. We've got a great lineup for you. We've got Ellie Lunzer, who's with us, and from ELP Productions coming at us live from Tampa. Yeah, we're going to get a live hookup over there and see what's going on now. The pregame festivities. We've got Izzy from the famous Kosher's Izzy's Smokehouse in Crown Heights. He's with us here. Abe Schoenfeld of Outer Stuff, the guy who makes the call. If you ever watch the games and you know that when the winning team, they win and 2 seconds later they've got the T-shirts. We got the guy who makes the call and went to print those T-shirts. The one who's doing all the apparel for it. So we got him. It was great. We've got a great guest on. We got Jeff Schwartz. Jeff Schwartz is a football player. We got an actual football player here who is with us, who did an incredible interview with us. He was a Giant. He was a Panther. He was a Chief. Speaks about some of the lessons that's taking place. That's taking place every second on the field. We got a new segment coming up called Portion Pointers. We got a lot of stuff going on here. Great new music, and it's gonna be a great show. So stick with us, and we're honored to have you on. And we thank the Project Inspire team for putting this together, and we look forward to it. Okay, let's get going right away. Ellie Lunzer is with us live from Tampa, the Super Bowl place right now. He runs a world-renowned and award-winning sports marketing consulting firm based in New York City. The firm specializes in helping brands and organizations achieve their goals through the power of experience, through talent booking and management in the sports entertainment sectors. through brand enhancements and event production management. I know Ellie a long time. He has the ability to bring some incredible talent into your brand. So we're going to give you his information afterwards. Before I do, let's go out to Ellie. Ellie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what's going on over there? Give us where you are. Give us the scene, the feeling out in Tampa right now.
Everything's great. We're at our headquarters, our company headquarters, Super Bowl week at the Hard Rock Hotel in Tampa. We got in just a couple of days ago, and there's so much excitement going on, not only throughout the hotel but all over Tampa. And you know, we're so appreciative for the 13th year to be involved with the Super Bowl, with a handful of different pro athletes currently playing, some alumni that are playing. Some of the events that we were able to pull off socially distant and outdoors here in Florida, thanks to, you know, all those folks in the higher ups that were able to do that. And this is what we're doing. We're excited. It's great to be here.
So give us the scene over there with COVID. What is does it still have the same excitement as in the past? Are people more reserved? How do you see the Super Bowl now vis-a-vis what it was in the past?
So, yeah, I mean, the number one difference is the amount of activity that's actually going on, both in the corporate world, for the brands and corporations that are usually coming down, and companies that send their employees and clients to the Super Bowl for incentive programs, et cetera. But, you know, this Super Bowl is just amazing. It's the first time in history that the host team is actually hosting the Super Bowl, and they're in the Super Bowl. So that, you know, for the city of Tampa, that's a win-win wherever you go. I mean, the buzz is all over the place. The events that we already put on and the events that are going to go on throughout the weekend are all obviously social distance, COVID precautions, CDC guidelines, et cetera. And, you know, people will abide to them. I think that, you know, it's a great opportunity for the sport and for NFL and for the history of the game.
You're an individual who gets to spend a lot of time around celebrities and athletes, and so you probably are able to opine on what's really going on, right? We get to see athletes sometimes when they got their uniforms on, when they're performing on a field. We don't really know them. We don't see them. We don't see them behind the scenes. And you do. Give us a little bit, if you can. I'm going to ask two different questions. I'll ask them one at a time, but I want to get your perspective on the good and the bad. You know, like, give us, if you can, what you've learned about some of the habits or some of the traits of successful individuals that have reached a certain level of professionalism in their lives. Are there traits that we can take away and apply to our lives?
The answer is yes. And the answer is, you know, everyone is an individual. You're talking about a professional athlete, you know, who becomes a champion, per se. The common denominator is that they have determination and will. They want to really, really succeed in their craft. A lot of sacrifice. They put sacrifice into their lives, into their bodies, into their families. There's really no second place for them. They really kind of, you know, just want to succeed and go to the next level. I also think that, you know, it's not about only the field or the court. You know, we'll talk about the field now with NFL and the court with, you know, the NBA. But you have to be a great person, you know, off the field and off the court as well. And that translates into what kind of athlete you are on the field as well. So I think that that's super important to keep in mind.
It's funny how, you know, sometimes you see people and when they're in the spotlight, they're one way, and then behind the scenes they're another way. Do you find that as well, that you're constantly disappointed by some people who you thought would be more professional, but, you know, sort of behind the scenes, you see their true colors?
Yeah, dealing with pro athletes and celebrities on a regular basis, you really see, you know, true colors. And there are folks that, first of all, they're human beings. It's not, I would never want to be in their shoes, but, you know, what we can do to help them in the spotlight and out of spotlight within our PR initiatives that we work on. Some of them are different and some of them are the same. You know, a guy like Michael Jordan, right, is the top of the world. If someone were to go up to him and ask him for an autograph, he would probably say no, right? And that would disappoint a fan or a kid that looks up to a guy like Michael Jordan. Whereas someone else can be the opposite. Magic Johnson is the nicest guy in the world, and someone goes up to him and wants to take a picture or an autograph, he's thrilled to do that. So there are guys that are definitely different on and off the field and on and off camera.
Amazing. Do you have any one particular athlete that you think that you can think about that you learned something specific from, that you respect, and what'd you learn from him?
I have an interesting one. We work with Odell Beckham Jr., and he doesn't have the greatest rap, within media and within, the sports world and fans in general. But he happens to be one of the most genuine, real pro athletes and individuals, more off the field than on the field.
Wow.
I would call him a mensch. I would go as far as to say that he is a mensch with what I've seen him do, in the nonprofit world with kids at risk, and just dealing with day-to-day people that are not involved in sports. So
Amazing.
he's actually one good example that I would give.
Wow. And for those who aren't familiar with who he is, he was a Giant. Now he's a Cleveland Brown. So he's got some good street cred in terms of where he is. Last question, Ellie, how do people find you? In case people want to use your services to book talent, to grow their brands. It's a great opportunity for people that may not know that this is available to them. So
Yeah.
give us where do people go? How can people reach you?
Super. I'm very easy to find. It's just Ellie Lunzer on Instagram. We have a website, Ellie Lunzer Productions, and an email, events at Ellie Lunzer Productions. And there you go.
Yeah, and we got you actually. We have your flyer on our site right now, and you can
There
really
you
check it
go.
out. I know Ellie for a very long time, and it's really a unique way to promote your brands and your company. So you should definitely check them out. Ellie, thanks so much for what you did for us this show, and
Thank
thanks
you.
for what you're doing. Continue being you. Some of the stuff that we didn't get to cover here is your faith and how you carried everywhere you go. And I was talking to our good friend Abe Schoenfeld, and he was telling me that you guys are tweeting and texting each other like, how can I pray mincha and what can I do for Shabbos? And the fact that you guys are wherever you are, you never forget the one above. So we're honored, and keep on shining your light in this world, man.
Yeah, doing Shabbos every time we travel to different award shows and games is actually a highlight for myself and my team to really stop the 24 hours that we're working during the week and on the weekends and really do it right. Charlie, who are you going for? Kansas City or Tampa?
Oh, we're going Kansas City all the way, man. You
You're
don't
going
bet against
Kansas
Pat
City.
Mahomes.
I got you. I got you. All right, we'll see you Sunday night.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you
Pleasure.
being
Thanks
on.
for having me. I'll see you
Enjoy.
later.
And that was Ellie Lunzer. He's a great guy. He's out there really interacting with people all the time. We've had the opportunity to catch up a few times. It's amazing. It's important that we appreciate sports. We don't get too lost in it. It's important that we realize they're just regular people trying their best, but we learn something from it. And one of the things that we can learn is what he said, this incredible lesson of determination, hard work, and sacrifice. And we're going to hear this a couple times later on, I think, throughout the show, this idea of just sort of pushing past yourself and really wanting to develop your craft, whatever your craft is, right? Whatever that is in your life. We all have roles to play. We all have roles in our families, in our relationships, in our spirituality. And we have to make choices if we want to be champions. And the concept of trying to achieve greatness applies no matter what your ultimate goal is. We just hope that the goals are aspirational enough, they're lofty enough. And so this really are the lessons of life. Our next guest is a little bit different. When you think about Super Bowl, a lot of Super Bowl is not just about the game, right? A lot of Super Bowl is about the food. That's how most people, I think, come to Super Bowl parties. I don't know if there'll be Super Bowl parties this year, but typically when you go to Super Bowl party, usually half people are there just for the food. And we figured, why not include in the Super Bowl show somebody who is an expert at food, in particular barbecue. We've got Izzy Edelman on, and Izzy is an award-winning He owns an award-winning smokehouse in Crown Heights. He is a pit master, and he brings a local twist with a Southern tradition, combining his simple ingredients to quality meats, to create a unique and laid back experience to all the barbecue lovers. He's achieved awards. It's amazing what he has done. I had a chance to catch up with him earlier this week. Check out this interview with Izzy.
And we're just a restaurant that happens to be kosher, and I consider ourselves one of the top smokehouses here in New York. We're gonna get ready our famous pastrami. This are the briskets we use here at the smokehouse, and this is gonna be done for our pastrami as well. Most of this is sourced from the Midwest, brought to here. See how it's like a nice fat cap. If you look at the marbling as well. We're gonna talk about what goes in our pastrami brine and what does not go in our pastrami brine. Pastrami essentially is a rub. Pastrami is not a piece of meat. It's a coriander, black pepper based rub that you put on the meat once the meat is done to pickle. You got our pink salt over here, and this sort of ensures that no bacteria affects the meat. Here's sugar. We got our fresh garlic here. Some honey. Here we have a blend of spices, which obviously, is coriander based. Grinded black pepper. So big in New York, when they came over from Europe, a lot of the Jewish people, they opened up the delis. That was an affordable way of, people to eat. Brisket will go in here, and see you in 2 weeks. So once the pastrami is done curing after 2 weeks, this is what it'll look like pretty much. So this is what just went in, and this is something that's been looking like that has been pickled for 2 weeks. We'll come back after a week and a half. We'll start to check the briskets. At that point already, it's pretty much pickled, as they say. So we'll let it dry overnight. I will go ahead and rub the meat, and we'll put it in the smoker again, anywhere from a 12 to 18-hour cook. You're pretty much curing it sort of to preserve it, and then you're making that piece of meat into something so delicious, almost like an umami in its own version, pretty much. So when you take the Texas style, then you take the Jews and the deli, and when you combine those two, it's just you're getting a phenomenal, amazing product, and just something that people obsess with.
Now check this interview I had with Izzy. Check this out with Izzy. Sports is really a metaphor for life. It's not about the ball. Whenever you see someone who's achieving Baruch Hashem Hatzlacha in life, there are clues, there are reasons, there's principles that are behind the scenes. What are some of the ways that you approach barbecue, which is enabling you to achieve your success, that you think are principles that we can learn from and how to become successful in anything that we're doing in life?
Put in the effort, surround yourself with good people is the second thing I would say. You are the 4 or 5 people you hang around with. That's who you are. That's who you hang around with. And
right.
And if those people are good people, or people who you could look up to, or people who can help you in life, that's going to be a big part of your success. But again, like don't let anybody tell you that you can't do anything. Especially for me, I had no experience in the food industry before, and I honestly had no idea what I'm doing. And looking back at what I was doing, I didn't think pretty much that then was insane. But I look back at it back then, going into industry that I don't know anything about, the hardest industry pretty much to go into, which is food. And I'm not going to say that we're successful because we're open up for 6 years almost, and I'm no by any means rich, but I'm happy to go to work every day. And I say the biggest thing for somebody when they want to either change a career or something is that I look forward to Tuesday and Wednesday like I do Shabbos and Sunday. And if you dread going to work on Monday or Tuesday, you're doing something wrong. Obviously, some people have no choice; they have a family to support. But for me, I'm very lucky. Some people I got to meet, and yeah, fortunate and blessed.
How important is it for you that every detail works?
A big reason why that in kosher there haven't been a lot of smokehouses that have been trying to emulate me, or tried, because just the effort. Like I could tell you in a very short, simple, like we have to get in a very high quality, expensive piece of meat. That meat has to be now inspected. That meat has to be seasoned. That meat has to go in a smoker now for 18 hours. You have a 20-minute window where from after the 18 hours to pull it out where it's at that perfect temperature. If you pull it too early, it's not good. If you pull it too late, it's dry. Then that has to go into a warmer in the morning and has to be good for service for dinner. Then someone has to carve it, has to make sure that piece is good. There's so many processes along the way that if you're passionate and you're not meticulous about the process, it's going to show on the product. Versus in other industries or other businesses or other foods, it's not like that. McDonald's is more of an operation, which I commend them, and I wish I could learn that one day. But there's too much meticulous, details going on that if you try to skip it, it's going to show out on the product. And ultimately, really just it's about hard work for my team and I, and I'm very fortunate that family's involved and helps me out. It's just a hard process, and if you're going to try to do shortcuts, people are going to tell. I think there's a misconception that if you fail in life, that you're a loser, and like ultimately the greatest people, historians in the world or whatever it is, like, yeah, how did someone older give you that knowledge that something was a mistake or something wasn't wrong? It's by the mistakes that people made,
Sure.
and that's how we learn. So the idea is that you want to, over and over and try and fail and make sure it doesn't hurt you too much, and you got to learn from that.
Totally.
That's it, and get knowledge.
Let me ask you a question. What is it do you think about barbecue? Everyone seems to love barbecue. You walk into someone's house and someone's like, "Hey, let's barbecue." And I was like, that's amazing. Like, it's something about what is it about barbecue that seems to be this great unifier from all types of people?
You know what? It's one of the only things in the world, I would say, that goes back to when man was first created. That, how did a person eat when they first created? They made a fire. They grilled some meat. That part of cooking with fire has gone down from generation till now, and that hasn't changed. Right. So that's just that's something that burns within inside somebody, So just people correspond to that, versus other stuff is like new and gimmicky and different. And on top of that, when you see somebody else put in that effort or that passion into something you make, just people get excited over it. Like just even let's say with Italian pizza, you see somebody making Neapolitan pizza in a wood-fired oven, their dough, it's like you're getting excited with the person, what they're doing, the process. People sort of, could relate to that.
As a Jew, do you have a spiritual lens on what you're doing?
One of the greatest satisfactions that we get here is that when people come to, to our store, right, and they tell us that, until, I've had non-kosher before, and Jewish people, and this is literally better than I've had before. And the fact that they're now knowing that they could eat a kosher meal instead of having them to feel like they have to go eat treif to eat, to fulfill their needs or their cravings, whatever you want to say. And the fact that they come here and they're able to eat kosher, I feel like, that's my mission. And that's one of the few small things I could do, really, getting more people to eat kosher food, really.
Amazing.
And not feel like they're lacking anything.
So as people prepare for the Super Bowl, there'll be those people that are going to barbecue. Do you have any tips that you can give to, I don't know, what they can do that's a little bit different this year than they haven't done before?
Don't get caught up with the anxiety of having to prepare meat on time. I think just making sure that if you're, it should be an enjoying thing. You're barbecuing with the family, with friends, and it shouldn't be very stressful. Enjoy, life's too short. Don't go plan for a week and then, Sunday the game comes, you're all burnt out and not be able to enjoy yourself. Just whatever you do, make it simple, make sure you're having fun. And really that's it. As far as what you want to grill, it's really, whatever it's all up to you, really. Whether you want to keep it simple with wings or chicken, go crazy with steak or with a brisket, smoking 18 hours, which I don't know if I recommend. You'll be too tired when the game starts. It's all about enjoying the process, because ultimately, if it's not gonna be enjoy the process, you're not going to grill again, you're not going to barbecue, and it's supposed to be one of the things that you enjoy, sitting down, with a kumsit style, with friends, and enjoy. If it's not that, then I don't see what's the point, really.
Izzy, thanks for being part of us. We appreciate you being on the show. Continue doing what you're doing, and continue shining your light on this world, man.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Have a great day and an awesome Shabbos and a great Super Bowl Sunday.
Thank you. And that was Izzy. He won some significant awards. He's telling me stories of the Texas, I guess, like the upper ups, that the great, the leaders of that world coming into his steakhouse, and it was really great stuff. You should check him out, and what he's doing here, and his food is probably off the charts, and I can't wait to be able to get that as well. Remember that it's 8:24 in a couple of minutes. We're gonna get Kahoot. Here's, first of all, two things. We'd love to hear from you. Feel free, please, on my Facebook page or on Zoom, just drop us a Shabbat Shalom. It's always a highlight for people to hear where everyone's coming in from. So please feel free to do that. Give us either on Zoom, my Facebook page, or Shabbat Shalom, where you're from. And remember, Kahoot's coming up. So get ready, because it's going to be intense. We're already in the competitive spirit. It's Super Bowl Sunday. Bring the family around. I know by my family, they're already starting to compete. It's Kahoot.it, or download the app on your phone. So when we play the game, you can watch it and then play on your phone. That's what my kids do, at least. So check that out. It's coming up in a couple of minutes. I'm giving you a head start so that when we call Kahoot in the next 5 minutes, you're ready to win. And hopefully this week we'll have either some of our usual players and some of our new players. We're excited about that. Now, there's a new music video that came out a couple of days ago and is catching fire around the Jewish world. It's produced by Akiva Balsam for the Waterbury, Connecticut Yeshiva. Super powerful. speaks about in the game. We've got separate teams, but in life, we all want to be a part of the same team. It's called Only Love, sung by Zevi Ginniger and Yosef Zeidel. Check this new music video out.
How much more are we gonna take? How many nights do we have to lie awake? How many tears are we gonna cry? We can't wish until the world runs dry. But what happens when the sky above runs out of every single shooting star? And what if every good intention's only meant to go so far? Only love can save us now. Keep the world from burning down, down, down to the ground, ground, ground. Only love can look inside a human heart and see us for who we are, and who we are would be enough. If only there was only love, only love, only love, only love. How
Officially
many
declaring a
lessons have we
national
really
emergency.
learned? How many bridges could we cross instead of burn? Why do we find it hard to forget? We're so blinded that it's easy to forget. Only love can save us now. Keep the world from burning down, down, down to the ground, ground, ground. Only love can look inside a human heart and see us for who we are, and who we are would be enough. If only there was only love, only love, only love, only love. Only there was only love, only love, only love, only love. So what happens when the sky above runs out of every single shooting star? And what if every good intention's only meant to go so far? Only love can save us now. Keep the world from burning down, down, down to the ground, ground, ground. Only love can look inside a human heart and see us for who we are, and who we are would be enough. If only there was only love, only love, only love, only love.
Wow, thank you so much for that very powerful video. Whew. You see it here on the show first. Let me tell you, if you haven't seen that before, that was going to be powerful. And we thank all the producers of that video for their message, which came across very clearly. Excited to get going. It's now 8:30. You know, it's time for Kahoot. Get it ready, kahoot.it on your app. Let's get those juices flowing over here. Remember to go to 375-3932. 375-3932. That's Kahoot. We'll get the game started. Get the Super Bowl edition of Kahoot coming in. While we do that, let me wish a couple of Shabbat Shaloms to Rochelle and Michael Kersner. Shabbat Shalom from Toronto. Shabbat Shalom. Rivka's on with Patriots Rock. It's going to be fun with her. Let's see if she can pull off the victory today. Joan Kodesh, Shabbat Shalom to you. RM, Shabbat Shalom to you. Murray Levy, Shabbat Shalom to you. Shabbat Shalom to the Novaks from Toronto. Henya from Toronto. Shabbat Shalom to Jerry and Eileen Hirsch from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Shabbat Shalom to Beth from Maine. The Mervis family from Silver Spring. I don't know about you, but I'm loving crisscrossing the country with some good Jews. Tammy Salmon from Birmingham, Alabama. Shabbat Shalom to you. 2 or 3 more minutes. Everybody sign up for Kahoot while we do this. A couple more minutes. Richard and Leah Bassat from Toronto. Mark and Michelle Mandelman from Montvale, New Jersey. Leah Perrell from New York City. Shabbat Shalom to you. The Silver family in Highland Park. You guys ready? Okay, let's get going. Kahoot. Here goes. First one. First question for Kahoot. Chicken wings is a popular Super Bowl food. Which part of the chicken isn't kosher? The hind, the sinew, the esophagus, or the whole chicken's kosher? Which part of the chicken isn't kosher? Is it the hind, the sinew vein, the esophagus, or the whole chicken's kosher? Shabbat Shalom to RM's Open Baltimore. Shabbat Shalom to Linda from Boston. Shabbat Shalom to Helene from Boca Raton. Shabbat Shalom. Here goes. Answer is the whole chicken's kosher. That's split. That's split in half. The whole chicken's kosher. Excited Sable 8 in Jerusalem. If someone's playing from Jerusalem right now, I think it's like 2 a.m. You deserve to be on the board. The Novak family, the Bissets, and Avivam. Okay, first one. And this week's Torah portion is the 10 Commandments. The first commandment is to honor your parents, don't eat pig, don't have any other God, or know that he is God. Shabbat Shalom to Leah and Richard from Toronto. Shabbat Shalom to Jen from Georgia. I'm heading my 15 seconds left. I'm hitting my Facebook now to my good friend Michael Weingart from Germany, who's up watching the show. Dorian Hausman, Shabbat Shalom. Rita Rubin from Boca. Rana Adler. Shabbat Shalom to you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Shabbat Shalom, everybody watching. Here it is. And the answer is know that he is God. Know that he is God. People got that one right. That's great. Excited Sable stays on top. Novak family moves up. The Bissets, Shopsies, and Avivam. Okay, let's go. Here we go. Third question. The Super Bowl is the most watched television event of the year with approximately how many viewers? How many people are watching the Super Bowl, you think, on Sunday? 15 million? 100 million? 250 million? And 1 billion people. Super Bowl Sunday. How many people are watching the game? 15 million, 100 million, 250, or 1 billion? It's now, I just got word that it's 3 a.m. in Germany. We thank Michael for tuning in. 9 seconds left. How many people are watching it? How many people are watching this game? 2 seconds left. The answer is 100 million people. Splits down the middle. 100 million people are watching the game. Let's see what, Excited Stable stays on top of the Novak family and the Bissets. There's some climbers. Okay. Big A, wherever you are, you were the highest climber in this round. Let's go to the final round. This NFL team owner built a regulation-sized football field and a sports campus in Jerusalem. Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones. The Panthers owner is David Tepper. New England's owner is Robert Kraft. And the Philadelphia Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie, who built a football field and a sports campus in Jerusalem. Who was it? Jones, Tepper, Kraft, or Lurie? And the answer is 3 seconds left of our game. And the answer is Yeah, Robert Kraft. Robert Kraft. Let's see what this did to our numbers today. Let's see who our winners are. Third place Kahoot is Toronto. Congratulations to the family from Toronto that's playing. The Novak family, they're from Toronto too. So far, Canada's killing on Super Bowl Sunday. And the winner is Excited Sable 8. I think this is the first time JS Schiff and Ben Sion shows up. Excited Sable 8, I think, is the first time that he or she has won. So identify yourself, please, so we can give you a proper shout out. Before we continue, I want to give one more shout out. That last video, which was so powerful, was actually created, produced by the son of our very own Rabbi Yaakov Ginniger. Rabbi Yaakov Ginniger, so anybody knows, is sort of the man behind the curtain. He's the Wizard of Oz. He's really one of the biggest drivers of the show. And so we give him a shout out, and a special shout out to his son. Man, talent runs in the family. So congratulations for such an incredible video, and it's an honor to have you on. The next interview is with a great guy, Abe Schoenfeld. Abe is the VP of production for Outer Stuff. Remember that I was telling you about the story of the man who gets the call when the t-shirts are being made, produces all the apparel. That's Outer Stuff. In fact, we've had the principal on the show, Saul Werdiger, is on the show a couple times talking about what it's like to be a Shabbat observant Jew in these moments. Abe managed the production for all 4 major sports leagues of children's apparel. Married for 22 years with 5 children. You could use any of the same logos, and he has them everywhere. And he's really one of the key figures in this period of time that's behind the scenes in the apparel and the Super Bowls. Check out this interview that I had with Abe earlier this week. So tell us a little bit about your company and its relationship to not only football, but the Super Bowl.
So I work for Outer Stuff. My father-in-law, Saul Werdiger, who you have the pleasure of having had on the show a few times. So we make all the children's apparel for all the 4 major sporting leagues, for the NFL, NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball. We make the official licensed jerseys and team apparel that's sold on all the websites, NFL.com, NBA.com, and we make all the apparel in related to the Super Bowl and to the events as well.
And you've had the opportunity to see a lot of athletes and players in your experiences. Can you give us, because at the end of the day, sports, I believe, is a metaphor for life, right? And people have achieved success in sports because they're hitting some principles. What do you find to be some of the things that you learn from people that you've met that have achieved success in this area that you think is just principles for life?
One of the most important things, especially about us being in the business and our family being in the business, is us being Jewish, we're very proud about that. And people respect that tremendously because we don't hide who we are and we don't hide our religion. We're very proud of that. And people from the top people in the league all respect the fact that we're Jewish, that we keep Shabbat, and that we eat kosher. And I mean, my father-in-law, I'm sure, has told you many stories about different events and things that happened at the events and at games, World Series, Super Bowls, where people went out of their way to make sure that we had accommodations for Shabbat or to have kosher food at the games because they respect that about us.
I, as a kid growing up, I always was, obviously, I would stay up, obviously not on Shabbat. I would stay up till whenever it is to watch the final games, especially if there was, the Yankees or the Giants. And I'd always be amazed that 5 minutes later, they got t-shirts on. And I'm like, wait, how did that happen? How did they know? How does it work? Do you have them both? You don't got to tell us if you don't want to. You can say it's a state secret.
I'll share it with you. It's okay. So obviously, the way it works is they draft up and they design the apparel for the winning team of all the winning teams. I could actually show you, not the Super Bowl because that's confidential, but I could show you, the AFC champions. If you could see that was the Chiefs, right? But if the Bills had won,
wow, that's great.
So it's like a template. You got the same thing. They're playing the Bucks. the Bucks won. Had the Packers won. That's
Oh,
what
that's
it was.
great. So do you print these jerseys? Do you print them or you just have them ready?
Yeah, so we print a very small percentage of the
Uh-huh.
T-shirts ahead of the time.
Just the players or whatnot, just so you give a little
Just for
bit.
the players, for their kids, for like the in venue, for let's say like the stadium. This year is a little bit different than other years because
Right.
there's really less people at the events and in the arenas. But we usually do a percentage in advance that gets sold to the stadiums and sold to the surrounding stores for both teams or for for everything that needs to go, and we have people just on standby as soon as the game is over.
Oh,
It's done. A few years back, I
Okay.
think it was the Broncos Panthers, and they were like blowing out. The Broncos were blowing out the Panthers in the game. They were up by like 30 points at halftime. And the printers kept calling me, Abe, can we start printing? Can we start printing? And I said, no, you can't start until it gets close enough that I can gamble, because what happens is that the team that loses, we actually the NFL requires us, and we send it to a third world country as a donation for impoverished and poverty-stricken people. So that they do get used occasionally, but not sold.
Right. Then right. Exactly. That's amazing. You're making one of the most important calls in the game. I can imagine you like looking at the bench going like, he called a field goal. He's never going to beat Brady. Go to the presses. Like that's a
By the
pretty
way,
big call.
we had that 3 years ago when the Patriots played the Falcons, right?
Oh my gosh, that's exactly right.
They came back.
Well, I thank you for being on, and more importantly, I thank you for being who you are.
And thank you for having me, and I really appreciate it. And I'm happy I was able to share some of that with you.
Amazing. Thank you. And that was an awesome interview. The full interview is actually, if you go on the ShabbatShow.com, you're going to watch the full interview of Izzy, of Abe, and then of our next guest as well. So you should check that out. There's actually a great story at the end of this, in that full interview, where Abe speaks about that game. If you remember, the Falcons played the Patriots, and the Falcons were up like 28-3 in the fourth. And the Patriots had this crazy comeback, and they were calling Abe saying, "Quick print." And he's like, hold off. And literally, because he held them off, they saved basically printing Super Bowl champions for the Falcons. So it's just such a great story there. And you can check that out on the ShabbatShow.com. This week we got a new segment that we're introducing. It's called Portion Pointers. Every week on Shabbat, we read from the Torah portions of the week. We want to give you a short insight on the portion. And to help you this week, we've got Rabbi Hanan El Wiener. He's the CEO of H Campus Boston. He found on Instagram and social media as the Rabbi Cooks. He shares deep lessons in Judaism, delicious food and recipes, and fun times with friends. He works with Jewish college students from Harvard, Boston, Brandeis, Northeastern, UMass. Be proud and knowledgeable Jews. Check out this small piece from Rabbi Wiener.
Hello, my friends. It's great to be here today for Project Inspire and the Shabbat Show. I'm Rabbi Hanano. I'm also known on Instagram and otherwise as the Rabbi Cooks. I have a great show with food and Torah and Judaism and fun friends and all kinds of things. Please feel free to check it out. Today we're talking about something incredible. Football! I'm a big sports fan. I've always loved sports. I've always played sports. I love sports, and I try to take lessons from Judaism out of the sports, extract life lessons from sports, tie it into everything else in my life. This week we've got the Parsha of Yisro, the Torah portion that we give the 10 Commandments. Whoa, the 10 Commandments. Awesome, everyone's heard of them before. What's in them? You gotta look to find out. But one thing we do know is that they're rules. Huh? Rules? We don't like rules. We're the Jewish people. We go against the rules all the time. Well, only kind of. Really, we do like rules. Rules are important. If you don't know the rules, you might not be playing the game. That's certainly the case when it comes to football. You have to follow the rules. You follow the rules, you can win. One penalty, you go against the rules, can lose it all. You gotta follow the rules. Judaism says that the Torah is the rule book for life. It's the instruction booklet for life. The Torah means instructions for life. That's what the word really means. And these instructions, if you play by the rules, you can win the game. And if you incorporate the rules of life into your life, you can have a magnificent life. It's the same with football. It's the same with cooking. It's the same with life. If you want to have an incredible experience, you follow the rules and it can be amazing. Now, it's game day. We've got to have some incredible foods. Hopefully you've been seeing behind me all these incredible foods. They're all on my channel, by the way. You want to learn how to make them, you can. But make them on game day. Follow the rules of cooking to make incredible food. Follow the rules of life to have an incredible life. The Torah, it's right there. It's waiting for you to take it, to incorporate and integrate its lessons. Have a great game day. Have a great life. We'll see you soon. Thanks, Project Inspire, the Shabbat Show. Back to Charlie Harari.
Thank you, Rabbi, for that message. We really, really appreciate it. Our next guest is Jeffrey Schwartz. Jeff Schwartz is a former NFL player. We had a chance to catch up with him, give him like the inside, ask him for the inside look at the game. Before we go into the interview, check out this video of Jeff Schwartz.
Jeff and Mitchell Schwartz, they are an anomaly. Two brothers who made it all the way to the NFL. They're both defensive linemen, and they're also the first Jewish brothers ever to make it to the pros. Now, they just wrote a book called Eat My Schwartz, our story of NFL football, food, family, and faith. Now, a short time ago, I spoke with co-author Jeff Schwartz. One of the things that surprised me was you didn't put on the pads or played organized football till high school. You know, a lineman to do it, and then to play in a not too successful high school program and get a D1 offer, D1 offers out of it is all but unheard of. Have you come across anybody with a similar story, except maybe some giant that played abroad here who just could run a 40 in 2 seconds or something? I never heard a story like that.
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often. You know, I think our size obviously kind of got us noticed. I remember going to a USC football camp and I shook one of the coach's hands and he kind of saw my size in my hand and decided to look at my name tag and saw who I was, and he started following up. I think that's kind of the way it starts, and luckily we were blessed to have this size and this strength and be able to play football. So starting so late never really hurt us. If we were a little smaller or different statue, maybe it would have hurt us, but it ended up working out for the best.
Well, certainly for you and Mitch, it has. Talk about, you know, you mentioned your name tag, and part of your book talks about your faith openly. From your perspective, when you went to college, and even more so when you went to the pros here, you're an anomaly. As you said, you and your brother probably make up about 40% of the players right now in the league that are Jewish. How much did maybe any of the comments either surprise you or even take you aback from people either didn't know or just didn't even know some of the offensive stuff they may have been saying?
You know, I really haven't encountered too many offensive comments, but I am surprised by the amount of players who've told me I'm the first Jew they've met. You know, maybe they grew up in a rural part of somewhere where they didn't meet a lot of Jews. I do like the questions. A lot of my teammates ask interesting questions about the faith, about kind of the nuts and bolts of Judaism. And then I've gotten some weird questions, though. I've been asked if I celebrate Thanksgiving, and that's an American holiday, so yes, I celebrate Thanksgiving. And, you know, just like things like that. I mean, like lighthearted. I've never really encountered much anti-Semitism or, you know, guys outright not liking me because of my faith.
Jeff and I had a chance to catch up earlier. Again, his full interview is going to be found on the ShabbatShow.com. We had a real opportunity to just talk about life through football. Just to give you a little sense of his history, he was drafted by the Panthers in 2008. He played for them, and then he played for the Vikings, the Chiefs, which is the team for those who are following in this week's Super Bowl, and the Giants and the Lions, and he offered this book. His brother, Mitchell, is actually a Chief right now, has been struggling with injuries, but was supposed to be playing in this week's Super Bowl. And I had a chance to sort of speak to Jeff about life and football, and check this interview out. So, Jeff, thanks so much for being on the show. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's an honor to have you on. You know, this is Super Bowl weekend. You know, the show is the Shabbat Show. So basically the show is the weekly show that we broadcast all over the world. Just to sort of mark the time, it's Thursday nights. to prepare ourselves for Shabbat. And this weekend, it's a special weekend because it's Super Bowl Sunday. So, Super Bowl Sunday is a holiday as far as I'm concerned. So it's a holiday weekend. As a football player, a lot of this show that we're talking about is really the depth of the game, right? It's not just the ball. There's so much that sports in general, but football in particular, brings to lessons in life. And, someone who's played the sport, you've played it professionally, your career is amazing. To really be able to speak to someone who's on the inside and talk about the lessons you've learned about being a football player. So share with us a couple of things. And in particular, you yourself, you're a professional player, which didn't just come out of nowhere. You worked your hardest to get there. You were around people that had done the same, that reached the professional level. What do you think are the ingredients, if you will, of greatness that you see that takes place on the field that maybe we're not watching because we just think people just show up and play, that you've been able to see because of your path?
So my high school football coach had a saying. He would say this to us before games, said, "Who will rise above adversity?" He said before every game. And that's often the difference in winning and losing, right? Especially in life. A lot of us are dealt kind of the same hand. Now, obviously, I had naturally gifted body. I was able to do that, but plenty of other people in my shoes had the same body I do, but just didn't work as hard, right? Did not know how to overcome adversity, did not know how to overcome hardship, did not know how to overcome when things didn't go well for you, did not know how to overcome just the mental blocks you have when you play sports. And games, look, we're going to see a game on Sunday that's won or lost in 2 or 3 plays, right? 2 or 3 plays here and there. And it's how do you, if you're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense and Pat Mahomes, and you call it great defense, and Pat Mahomes still beats you anyways, how do you overcome that? Do you fall in the tank? Do you bow back up? What do you do? How do you overcome adversity? I think those moments, and part of that is how you train, part of how you mentally talk to yourself. All that is part of how you overcome adversity. But again, I'm telling you, like I was a 7th round draft pick. I was drafted lower than I thought I'd be. Then I got hurt a bunch in the NFL. I got hurt 7 times in the NFL. 6 surgeries plus another injury. A guy in my position should not play 8 years because a guy in my position in 7th round doesn't get the benefit of the doubt that a first rounder gets. And for as hurt as I got to continue to play throughout all those years over 4 and really 4.5 sort of teams, in my opinion, all comes to how I handled the downs, how the surgery, my rehabs, my mindset, and really with help of family and faith, and be able to kind of use those as a kind of a backboard for me as well. To me, it was how I overcame adversity.
So let's delve into that because not only did you play, you were as I say, you were an all-star. You were highly regarded. You were considered to be really one of the best at your position, and so take us if you can to the field, and I want you to because you're in the game, right? There are fans. You make a move. Maybe they call a penalty on you, and as a result of your move, that 20-yard positive play gets pulled back, right? Someone gets around you. What do you use live to enable you to get over adversity in the moment?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think a lot of it has to do with trusting your abilities. So, I was the way I kind of approach life in general, and this I think helps with sports. And this takes time, right? It's not just I'm 34 now. It's not really the way I thought at 22, but definitely the way I think now is that if you do the right things, okay, and this is very much I think in the Jewish background of mine, and all of ours, I should say, like if we do the right thing in life, I believe that helps you in the bad times, right? So for example, let's say that I've done all the training I have to do for that week, right? I'm prepared, I'm focused, and you're going to get physically beat one time. It's going to happen in a game, but I know that I have still put in the work to overcome that. If I did not put in the work for that week, right? I didn't prepare like I was supposed to. I'm not physically ready. I'm not mentally ready. Then one bad experience could ruin that for us. It could ruin it for all of us. If we do something in life and we're not fully prepared for, and adversity happens, and it happens earlier than you think, you don't have anything to fall back on. Well, guess what? If I get beat for a sack, I have all my training. I have all my confidence. I can still play the game because, hey, I'm ready to play, right? I'm prepared. And so I think that when you kind of do what you're supposed to do to prepare for things in life, when there are those hardships, you're able to fall back on your preparation to get you through it. And the more confident you are in your abilities to do any sort of task, any adversity that happens, you should be able to power through it. And so that's the way I looked at it. If I got beat for a sack, it was, I cursed myself out. I walk back to the sidelines. My coach might yell at me, then I forget about it. I get ready for the next play because I know I can still play in this league.
So, let's speak a little about, you said you mentioned your faith. I know
Yeah.
that you're a proud Jew. I know that you've spoken about it before.
Yeah.
You listen, you're one of the few, man. Like, you made
know,
it.
not many of
How
us.
many are there out there? Do you even have a minion? Do you have so you're really the few, the proud, the Marines. You're
Yes.
representing our people on the
Yes,
field there.
exactly. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about how Judaism and how your faith has shaped you, and what impact it's
Yeah.
had on you.
Well, so I think I mentioned earlier about doing the right thing. Like, I've talked to many of my teammates about their religions. Religion is a big part of the locker room. We and I say this all the time. People ask me why that is, and here's why I think it is. It's because when you play sports, right, they're physical, right, and you have to kind of get your mind in a way that you might not want to do regularly. And a lot of people use religion for that, right? They're able to kind of wrap their head around the physicality of the game, the kind of the hardship of the game, just through religion. And I think that a lot of players, that's their backbone. And I love it. I think that we can all talk about different religions, and we did. I talked to a lot of my teammates about religion. A lot of us, a lot of them, I should say, did not really know about Judaism, and we had some fun conversations.
I'm sure.
But I think for me, and kind of gathering how I grew up in the faith and other people did, is I just think the concept of doing the right thing. Like, I know that it's easier said than done, but I just feel like Judaism, like, that's the backbone, right? Is like, you just be a good person because you're supposed to be a good person, not because of punishments, right? Don't do good because you might be punished later in life. Do good because you're supposed to do good. That's what we are supposed to be as humans. And my wife always says to me that her number one thing she appreciates about me is that I always do the right thing, even when it's hard to do. It's what my dad taught me to do. And that comes down to just doing things that are tough in life. Like my dad, early in life, in high school, I remember I had a problem with the coach, let's say. He didn't talk to the coach. Me talk to the coach. 15 years old, going to talk to a 45-year-old basketball coach about why I'm not playing enough. Hard to do, right? Like, but that was the right thing. I had to fight my own battles. He's not fighting my battles for me in life. And so little things like that along the way. And I think that's where the Judaism part came in. It's just kind of growing up in the synagogue, obviously bar mitzvah, and I went to a little bit of post school after my bar mitzvah as well. My kids are now in the synagogue. My kids went to still go to Jewish preschool in Charlotte, and I just think like the idea of doing right because you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to be a good person. I think it's been really helpful for me in life.
Oh, amazing. That's really amazing. One more question. I know that we have we have one more question, and then we'll just
we're good.
We'll pause. I want to talk about your brother, right?
Yes.
Is we got a big game coming up this weekend?
Yeah.
And now your brother is. We're all we know that JPP is going to be a big problem for the Chiefs, and without your brother, it may be very hard. Give us a 2-minute as to how's your brother doing and what's his status.
Yeah, I mean, he's been out obviously for 3 months now. I would not expect him to play. I don't think I'm breaking much news now. But it's been tough, because he was so good for so long. He was four-time All-Pro, and his Super Bowl last year was incredible. He was amazing in the Super Bowl, and it was really fun to watch him, blossom in the playoffs. And it's tough, right? I mean, it's anytime that your team wins without you, like there's everyone hates to admit this, but I think it's definitely true. I've been injured a bunch. I know the feeling. Like when someone takes your place and you have a value that you assign to yourself, right? You assign, okay, I'm this valuable to the team. And then someone takes your place and the team just continues to win. You're like, that kind of like it's an ego shot, right? And so I think it's a little bit, I haven't talked to him about that, but I have to imagine that that's part of this as well, right? It's tough to not be out there when you're winning Super Bowls, when you're going to Super Bowl again. And so I imagine it's been tough for him to not play this year, and obviously, not play this weekend. But it's fun to watch the Chiefs play, man. They're so good.
Awesome. They're so good. So thank you so much for being on the show, and really, we appreciate who you are and what you mean to us. And thanks for shining your light on this world.
Yeah, glad to be here. Thanks for having me. Go Chiefs.
That was Jeff Schwartz. There's so many pieces I hope you guys could see if you go to the ShabbatShow.com. I asked him about how much time goes into the prep and the review, and I asked him how he gets over the pain in the moment of making a mistake in front of everybody. So you should check out the full video for those who want it. I think it's like 20 minutes long. Go to the ShabbatShow.com. This week, also on Project Inspire, is MindFlex. If you remember, MindFlex is one of Project Inspire's greatest programs. It takes place all the time. This Tuesday and Wednesday night, we've got Rabbi Shmuel and Rebbitzin Bailey Braun. I know them for a very long time. They're unbelievable. And they're going to be talk about learning to float, the all-surrounding embrace of joy. Check them out this week, February 9th and 10th, 9 p.m. It's going to be amazing, and we thank them as well for being a part of this. And I think we speak about the game, and in many ways, that's what Shabbat's all about. Shabbat's all about everything. For those who've been paying attention, but really, the opportunity for us to look back at our lives and to recognize that we have to push to become champions. You don't make it to a Super Bowl. You don't have 100 million people watching you if you're not practicing and trying and sacrificing. You don't just roll in and play sports. That's not how it works. You train and you play and you practice your whole life to get an opportunity to get up there and play again. What's amazing about sports is that the more challenging the game, the more important it is. But what's amazing about life is that sometimes we run away from the challenges, when really the challenges are what make us champions. The challenges of our lives are the games that we play in each and every one of our own lives to make us the best that we can be. No athlete runs away from the game. They want to be playing in the game. But me and you have our own games to play. And the games we play is the games of our lives. And they're no less important. It doesn't matter how many fans watch us. God's watching. And God's the only fan that counts. And Shabbat's that time where we get to slow down and drop. We get to realize that our week send challenges. And maybe it's in these challenges that we become who we're supposed to be. And by just focusing on them, by just going through it, so doing this on the boost now, but just focusing on it and realizing it's important, it'll change us and make us the players that we're meant to be. And so for me and mine, to you and yours, I wish you a Shabbat filled with greatness, filled with opportunity and potential, for us to approach life in the same determination that an athlete approaches the game. All of us have our own games to play, and each one is just as important as the next. So I wish you a Shabbat Shalom. I hope next week to do this from Jerusalem with you live, but if not, hopefully we'll see you back here next week. And so on behalf of the Project Inspire team and myself, we wish you a good weekend, a good Shabbos, and a Shabbat Shalom.
Pieces and you're just falling down, falling down. I'll pick you up, and if you feel like you're outnumbered on a battleground, and you had enough, well, I will be there for you every time. As you turn around, I will let you down. I'll be there, and we'll both become brighter than the sun. Together we in